Hi everyone, this is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time, and in this video I'll give you the latest status of all the back and forth, all the rumblings, all of the shots that both sides are taking at each other, and all of the mind-blowing comments that are coming out of DC today. On your screen, you'll see a tweet from Alan Rappaport. Now, Alan Rappaport is an economic policy reporter at the New York Times, and he quoted President Trump today, and President Trump said, if you take the blue states out, the deaths as a result of the pandemic would be at a very low level. Gosh, I think, I can't believe I'm even reporting something like this. So first of all, I don't even think we should be talking about red states versus blue states. For me, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. I'm not Democrat. I'm not Republican. I'm American. So I don't even understand why we are having this discussion, why we are having this conversation. But when it comes out, when it comes from the President of the United States, reporters are going to cover it. It's as simple as that. And there have been some reports saying that the deaths in the red states have exceeded the deaths in the blue states. But I'm not even going to go there. I'm not even going to get into that discussion, because in my mind, we shouldn't even be comparing deaths in blue states versus red states. It doesn't even matter if that's true. And that is how we look at it. But as you can imagine, Joe Biden had a response to it, and you can see what Joe Biden said on the screen right here. This is shaping up to be a pretty partisan, a pretty nasty exchange of comments between the two sides as we head into the November 2020 election. Quite unusual what's going on. In fact, you'll see another tweet on your screen from Phil Mattingly, who's a CNN congressional correspondent. And as you can imagine, Chuck Schumer had some choice words in response to the president's comment. And when he was asked about the president's comments on the blue state deaths versus the red state death toll on the floor, when Chuck Schumer was specifically asked about the president's comments about the blue state death tolls versus the red state death tolls, this is what Chuck Schumer had to say. It's getting pretty nasty up in DC, guys. The discourse is getting highly unusual. So let's get back to the stimulus negotiations and where things stand right now. On your screen, you'll see another tweet from Phil Mattingly. And Phil said that when House Speaker Pelosi was asked if the $2.2 trillion, which is the current stance of the Democrats, which is where the Democrats stand right now in terms of the big number, when House Speaker Pelosi was asked if there was any chance that she would budge over there, the House Speaker did point out that the Democrats went from $3.4 trillion down to $2.2 trillion. And she said, I quote, "It's hard to see how we can go any lower when you see the great needs." Again, it's hard to see how we can go any lower when you see the great needs. Those were the statements from House Speaker Pelosi. In fact, here's a tweet on your screen from Jake Sherman over at Politico. Jake Sherman writes, which means that Republicans and Democrats are still close to $1 trillion apart. I mean, I guess if you want to get really technical, the Democrats are at $2.2 trillion and the administration has indicated that they'll go up to $1.5 trillion. So they're approximately $700 billion apart, which, guys, in the grand scheme of things is not a whole lot of money when you look at the great needs of the American people. Now, on your screen, you see the tweet from the president yesterday, which essentially set off the chain reaction of events where the president supported a massive economic relief bill with, I quote, much higher numbers. So his Twitter post did set off a chain reaction of events. And speaking at the White House yesterday, in the past 24 hours, the president expressed support for a $1.5 trillion plan. Now, he didn't explicitly endorse it, but he did support it. And this new $1.5 trillion plan does include stimulus checks, which were not included in the skinny bill. And it includes a lot of things like the enhanced unemployment, which the Senate Republicans were not doing in their skinny bill. So the president said, I quote, "I like the larger amount. I've said that some of the Republicans disagree, but I think I can convince them to go along with that because I like the larger number. I want to see people get money." Now, keep in mind, in the past, the president has said that he didn't want $600 a week enhanced unemployment benefits because he said that would not encourage individuals to get back to work. And many other individuals from the administration, like Larry Kudlow, have said that. Eugene Scalia, the U.S. Labor Secretary, has said that. U.S. Treasury Secretary Stephen Mnuchin has said that. White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has said that. So I think that is interesting that the president says that I like the larger number. And so that's what the president is saying. Now, the president did stop short of saying he would approve every detail of the Problem Solvers Caucus plan, but he did say he said, I quote, "Something like that we're getting closer. Now, the president also said we should have an agreement. People should be helped and they should be helped as rapidly as possible. And I think it's going to happen. This is what the president said in the past 24 hours. Now, there was a joint statement from House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and I did cover that in another video with the reaction of the Democrats, because the Democrats are calling individuals back to the table. Here's a joint statement from House Speaker Pelosi on your screen. So you'll see the statement from Speaker Pelosi basically saying, hey, let's start talking. And we are encouraged that after months of the Senate Republicans insisting on shortchanging the massive needs of the American people, the president is now calling on the Republicans to go for much higher numbers. So that's where things stand right now. Now, there has been a significant amount of back and forth. As you can see, there was a tweet this morning from the president where he called the Democrats heartless for not wanting to give stimulus payments to people. Now, I have done another video where I've outlined the differences between what the Democrats want, what the Republicans want. So it's important for viewers and subscribers to understand both sides. Remember, for us at Ignition Time, for me and my entire team, which works very hard behind the scenes, there are a lot of unsung heroes behind this channel. I'm just a guy in front of the camera, but there are a lot of unsung heroes behind this channel. For us, it's not about the red or the blue. It's about the red, white, and blue. For us, it's not about being a Democrat or being a Republican, because we are Americans. So I do want my viewers and subscribers to be aware of that. So last week, as you might remember, the Republican Party tried to pass a $300 billion skinny bill. And now all of a sudden, a week later, we're talking about a potential consensus. I say potential because a lot of GOP senators still have to get behind this. And if you want to support this, check out my other video on sending letters to your local senators. So isn't it funny that we go from a $300 billion bill 1 week, which was rejected, to now wanting to do larger payments, $1.5 trillion a week later. And something tells me that the fact that there's an election coming up in a few weeks has a little bit to do with it. So that's where things stand right now. But I do believe that the framework from the Problem Solvers Caucus did set things in motion. So that is a good thing. Here's what the president said. He said, I quote, "There's some things I disagree with, but I'm sure they could be negotiated." Now, Representative Tom Reed, who's a Republican from New York, who along with Democrat Josh Gottheimer essentially pushed forward the bill through the Problem Solvers Caucus. So both of them get credit for this. He said, I think our proposal triggered a change in conversation. And he noted that the pandemic relief talks were, I quote, stuck in gridlock. And now at least we see folks both at the House, Senate, and White House indicating that they're willing to have a conversation and get back in the room. Now, however, House Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy, who's a Republican from California, told reporters Wednesday that for, $1.5 trillion, he said, I quote, I think it's difficult. Now, there are some lawmakers that do see signs of hope. Roy Blunt said a deal could be reached and that lawmakers probably needed an agreement by the end of September. He said we need to get busy finding out what we can all agree on, acknowledging that it would be higher than the $1 trillion that the Senate Republicans had originally been open to. He said maybe the escalator clause concept gives everybody a little something to brag about. There's a deal here. I think it would be really a shame if we don't figure out how to grab hold of it. So I do think that is interesting. Now, keep in mind, Congress is scheduled to be in session through early October, and it must also pass a spending bill to avert a government shutdown on the 1st of October. So I do think that is worth mentioning. And Stephanie Murphy, who is a Democrat, said, I'm hopeful that as leadership registers the anxiousness of members, both Democrats and Republicans, to get something done, that they will be responsive to that. Now, keep in mind that President Trump's son-in-law and advisor Jared Kushner had indicated that a deal might not happen before the election. But President Trump's comments, his tweets in the past 24 hours indicate that the president now wants the matter dealt with very urgently. And now there are Republican senators who are trying to get something done. So let's see if something happens. And House Speaker Pelosi, on a final note, seems to be at $2.2 trillion right now. And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell earlier this week said that $2.2 trillion was still too high. Let's be clear. House Speaker Pelosi, and by the way, there were some talks about, plans to overthrow House Speaker Pelosi. I can tell you that discussion is not going to go anywhere, which is why I'm not covering it on our channel. But because House Speaker Pelosi does have the support of a majority of the leaders in the Democratic Party. So House Speaker Pelosi she's there, she's standing firm. Many Democrats would agree that, she she is doing the right thing by standing firm, but you can decide where you stand. But House Speaker Pelosi has indicated no willingness to back down. She's not going to budge, and she said that agreeing to a lesser deal below the $2.2 trillion is unlikely. She said, I quote, on CNBC, "We have come down, but the needs of the American people, we can only go so far. We cannot have a Sophie's choice of feeding some children and not others, housing some people and not others." That's where things stand, everybody. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about the state of the current gridlock, some unusual state of affairs in DC. Please comment below. Let me know what you think about what's going on. Please also share this video with friends and family members and let us know what you think. Thank you so much for watching, everybody. My name is Dr. Nitin Chhoda with Ignition Time. If you don't know anything about me, check out my introductory video on our channel. I have the fortune, the honor, the privilege of living the American dream, and I want to help you reach your American dream. So give me the opportunity. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications so you can get instant updates from our channel going forward. Now, you can follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is ignition_time. That's ignition_time. We release exclusive content specifically for our Instagram community. You can also follow us on Twitter. Our Twitter handle is also ignition_time. That's ignition_time. We release breaking news and alerts on Twitter. You get them really fast on Twitter. Now, sometimes YouTube does not send out notifications, so make sure you bookmark youtube.com/ignition_time on your browser. That's youtube.com/ignition_time. This way you can check out our videos and you won't miss a single video, even if you don't get YouTube notifications. Speaking of notifications, get your cell phone out, send a text message with the word ignition or with the word time to 70,000, that's 70000, and you'll get added to our SMS alerts list, and you can opt out at any time. Speaking of alerts, if you go to ignitiontime.com/alerts, that's ignitiontime.com/alerts, you can get on our email list, and you can opt out of the emails at any time if you so choose. Once again, thank you so much for watching our videos. Thank you so much for helping grow our community. Thank you so much. Please click like, please subscribe, please enable notifications. Please remember, we release videos at 2 p.m. East Coast time most days of the week. So make sure you subscribe so that you can get alerts from YouTube about those notifications. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.